Superman's heart has been injected with red kryptonite, which is obviously a big no-no for the Man of Steel. Will Dr. Niles Caulder's surgical skills be enough to save the man of tomorrow, or will Batman's best friend forever perish? Mark Waid's story for Batman Superman World's Finest continues to be amazing. What I love about the book is that there's definitely the simplicity factor that's being interjected into the book's tone, where neither Batman or Superman are taking the situation dramatically serious. You know, obviously Batman isn't dishing out jokes while Supes is undergoing surgery, but there's definitely this Saturday morning cartoon sensation that's layered throughout. Basically, though the dangers are serious, at the end of the day, seeing both Superman and Batman team up to kick ass is still a fun time. The book is no doubt a love letter to the classic team-up history between DC's Dark Knight and the Man of Steel. Yet Waid manages to keep the characters on their toes by adding stakes and placing the heroes into difficult situations. Not to mention that because these characters are symbols of truth and justice, the manner that they respond is never done in a depressing or gritty way. And so because of that, the book feels fresh with its execution. It feels hopeful, which is what these two iconic characters represent. When it comes to the book's art, it's absolutely superb. Scenes like the operating room segment are dark, and because of the work focuses purely on the characters inside, it provides this claustrophobic feeling. Thus, Dan Mora masterfully captures the room and the suspense. Operating room scenes aside, everything else from Batman and Superman fighting Felix, to Superman flying around, to even just the banter between Supergirl and Robin, is bright and hopeful. The visuals made me smile from the beginning to end, while the colors by Bonvillain bring this delicious and catchy appeal that sparks wonder and magnificence. Overall, Batman Superman World's Finest issue number 2 is phenomenal. The issue is filled with content and story that almost feels like 2 issues in one, or something similar to Scott Snyder's books. And, let's be honest, Snyder's books are filled to the brim with story. But yeah, the art, Waid's story, it's all brilliantly handled, and I cannot wait for issue number 3. Batman Superman World's Finest issue number 2 gets a sexy 10 out of 10. Our story picks up right where the last issue ended, with Superman about to get surgery from Dr. Niles Caulder, the Professor X stand-in for the Doom Patrol. With the use of surgical tools, Niles eventually discovers that the red kryptonite, though it didn't damage his heart, the downside is that Superman's blood is tainted from the effects. Now, while both Niles and Robot Man attempt to figure out this dire situation, off to the side, we see Batman, who's standing still like a watchful knight, or as we regular folk like to call it, socially awkward. But in truth, it appears that Batman is on edge. Because yeah, he's nervous that Superman might not make it. And while Rita, trying to help out both Batman and Robin, trying in her own way comfort the dynamic duo, Niles starts to scream, calling out for Negative Man's assistance. Now check it, folks. With the kryptonite rapidly toxifying Superman's blood, dude has minutes to live at best. Therefore, they need to enact a full-on transfusion. But for Niles, he doesn't own any of the right equipment to filter the blood. But because of Larry's Negative Man abilities, the radiation throughout his body could actually purge of sorts the toxation within Superman's bloodstream. Thus, Negative Man unleashes his power, as Larry's ghostly form begins purging the bad stuff. Now, while this makes Superman scream and yell, not just because, there's a ghost rummaging through his body, but more so because of the fact that, it hurts like hell. However, when you have someone like Batman cheering for you on the sidelines, assuring that everything's going to be okay because you're a badass superhero, then anything is possible. And not only that, Superman does the impossible. Thus, he makes it look like a session of child's play. And alas, folks, in moments' time, Superman awakens back and stronger than ever. Later on, once everything is less stressful, Niles tells our heroes about how a few weeks ago, the Doom Patrol liberated an item from a madman named Zhao, and with a simple glance, Batman notices that it's a sword from the Zhang dynasty. Thus, this is where Niles and his team begin to dive deep into the backstory regarding the sword, the legend of Najal. Now, according to legend, the sword originally belonged to Najal, the son of China's most powerful warlord, Li Jing. Now, despite the warlord's military skill and might, he wasn't able to prevent his son from dying in battle. Eventually, Jing abandoned his throne and everything he owned in order to travel in the known world, in order to find some way to resurrect his son. Now, this guy did everything terrible. He exhorted, he tortured, he probably killed Baby Yoda's parents. I mean, legit, this guy was a piece of work. But eventually, his path led him to a life of servitude, left to scrubbing the floors of a reputed magician. And after many years, the magician showed Jing mercy, rewarding him with the knowledge which would allow him to create the elixir of eternal life. Thus, Jing was able to achieve his goal, and he administered the liquid to his son's preserved corpse. However, shit popped off the moment he told his son everything that he did, because seemingly with everything his father sold and sacrificed, everything that they conquered together was no longer in their possession. And so this led to the son basically killing his dad due to his weakness. Later on, Nigel used the lessons that he learned from his father to rebuild his empire. He eventually regained his fortune and rebuilt his military, an army twice the size than before. And he even embraced the use of magic and mysticism techniques in order to help with his conquest. And in time, the son became so infamous, he adopted the name Devil Nizal. Niles then reveals that a group of ancient heroes from the House of G imprisoned the villain. However, both Batman and Niles suspect that they are currently dealing with an acolyte of his, or worst case scenario, the actual Devil Nizal himself. And seemingly, he is using both Batman and Superman's villains against them. But we soon find out that they're not the only heroes dealing with trouble, because according to Niles' remote cameras, the villain Felix Faust is tormenting a boy named Billy Batson, somewhere in Philadelphia, while the Flash and Wonder Woman are fighting their bad guys as well. Now, in order to properly combat Devil Nizal, both Batman and Superman will contend with Felix and save Billy, while Robin, along with the arrival of Supergirl, can travel back in time to the ancient days of China, where those among the House of G are located. In Philadelphia, we see Billy running away from the villain Felix Faust. Now, obviously, Billy would usually yell the word Shazam, thus transforming himself into his superhero body. However, Felix enacted a spell which has caused Billy's mouth to be, mouthless, thereby cutting off his connection to Shazam. Now, Felix doesn't know that Billy is actually Shazam, but he does know that he is somehow connected to the wizard. Either way, Billy's fucked. But just as Billy's about to get exterminated, Superman flies down and is able to save Billy just in the nick of time. Felix immediately activates his magic shield in order to deflect Superman's laser beams. And because Superman sucks against magic, Felix is able to trap our heroes with his magic. However, because he's Superman, our hero begins to whistle. However, Clark is whistling an Afro sound, which is a technique the military uses in order to take out weaponry. But if used with creating extreme force of vertigo, it can cause muscle cramps, which is what's happening to Felix right now, throwing him off balance in the process, thereby allowing our heroes to escape their magical constraints. Meanwhile, we pick up with Supergirl and Robin, who are making some small talk, though at the end of the day, two are not happy about teaming up, because clearly there's some past history between these two. But eventually, Supergirl begins to break the time barrier. Now, the way that she's able to properly land in the designated time slot is because everything on Earth leaves a tachyon trail. Therefore, if you know where to look, especially if you have X-ray vision, then you can trace the path of the sword's history and follow it through its entirety to the proper time slot. And alas, the heroes are able to travel to ancient China. But once they land at the House of G, the warriors begin to attack, believing both Robin and Supergirl are soldiers of Nizal, simply because of their possession of the sword itself. Back in the present, Superman begins to interrogate Felix, demanding that he tell them about who it was that put Felix up to the attack, along with how to cure Billy with his mouth problem. But in creepy fashion, Felix begins to laugh like a maniac because, unbeknownst to our heroes, Felix's staff basically sends Superman and Batman and Billy to the fires of hell because yes, Felix has aligned himself with the Devil Nizal, and all he demanded in return for Felix's loyalty was the eternal damnation of his enemies. And that, folks, was the end of Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 2. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. And as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 3? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace.